Carnival is Trinidad and Tobago's flagship product. Yet for all of the hype surrounding the season, experts believe Trinbagonians startlingly know very little of its history. For UTT senior academic Dr. Hollis Liverpool, the mighty chalk dust, our own school system has failed our culture.
Our teachers know very little of carnival, very, very little. When I talk to teachers, they don't know about carnival. They have an idea. They think it's a fete. They jump up. It's sex. It's rum. It's debauchery. But teachers don't know about carnival.
But the teachers are only part of a broader problem. If nobody teaches the teachers, then they can't pass on the knowledge to their students. If our culture isn't made a major part of the curriculum, then carnival remains secondary in society.
We have failed to teach carnival to the teachers. And by not teaching carnival to the teachers, the children don't know. Because for culture to reach the children, it has to reach them teachers first. And many of the teachers, we have never made carnival important enough to teach teachers. So teachers go to training college and learn Spanish and French and Latin and all sorts of things, and they haven't learned carnival. Because we didn't make carnival part of the teachers' the armory in the secondary schools. In fact, we didn't make carnival part of the armory of secondary school people. So children go to school, they learn history, and they learn all sorts, and they learn Amerindian, but some of these things, all these African traits that we have had in this country, we have an Indian traits, African and Indian traits, we have never taught our children.
Up to the university, people really don't know much about the history of carnival. They just go on carnival Monday and Tuesday and jump up, and that for them is it. But carnival has a very interesting history, and it is tied up to the history of the country.
For historian Dr. Hollis Liverpool, Calypsonians, both past and present, are underutilized in what they can bring to our society.
Teachers have to understand what the past Calypsonians have said, what they have contributed to this country. And they have contributed a lot. If I begin to tell you some of the things that Calypsonians have said, you just talk about Valentino. But when Ash Wednesday come and pass, the people just go back to their race and class. So the only thing to keep them together is Mass, Valentino. He's a primary school boy, 4th standard. When the people just go back to their race and class. In other words, after carnival, they go back to all the racist things. And carnival, they're hugging up on another and jumping up.
We have to see that carnival is not just a festival of 2 days or even of the weeks before.
UWI's Arts and Festival lecturer Roel Gibbons sees something much deeper than religion in our carnival. Instead, he sees the Mass as the making of Trinidad and Tobago's society.
It is a mechanism that shows us how we dream of the kind of society we want to create here. What is the society that we want to create? What is the society where everybody's equal? Anybody can walk into a steel barnyard. Right? Anybody can walk into a mass camp that's selling to and buy a costume, right? Or into a steel barnyard and play, and so on. You don't find that all over the place, you know. You think people can come from Japan and go to Jamaica and say they go into the thing just like, it doesn't happen quite like that. Yeah? You need, but that is what happens here. We have, it's an open society in that way.
I think just teaching carnival is not the issue. I think fostering imagination is the issue.
But Archbishop Emeritus Joseph Harris has a different take on the issue. More than teaching children about the history of carnival, he feels it is more necessary to open up their imagination at a young age.
But what we have to teach in school is imagination, or foster imagination. And in the past we had it. If, what's his name, Minshall has it, why the rest of us can't have it?
The former Archdiocese head feels carnival is now being misrepresented.
I think carnival has been misunderstood. I think we have gone through a cultural colonialism.
As a result, His Grace feels carnival has been made to look like an enemy of Christianity, when well and truly it is not.
We have turned heaven into the most boring place in the world.
As parish priest of St. Anthony's in Fete Valley in the late 90s, early 2000s, Archbishop Harris developed the idea of a Catholic carnival band, one that would not only return Mass to a deeper sense of creativity, but also one that would help children grow in understanding what carnival really is about.
I remember telling people I want to bring out a carnival band for children, but a beautiful band. And I said to them at that time, I want to play butterflies with all the children and start teaching them from young that it is possible to be in a carnival band, to behave decently, and to enjoy oneself.
In its essence, it is spiritual. It is a popular, original form of people saying, thank you to the deity.
Having studied the arts coming down the decades, Roel Gibbons, a former head and senior lecturer at the Center for Creative and Festival Arts at the UE, says, if Carnival now looks different from the spiritual aspects it should encapsulate, that is only a reflection of the contemporary society we live in.
We have a much more complex and sophisticated response to living in this place. And Carnival exemplifies that. It is not one-dimensional. It's not vulgar, as again, everything. It is what it is. And if it is vulgar, to the degree that it's vulgar, it's because we are vulgar people. Who is doing it? It's not people from Mars, Right? We are doing it. So we create that.
Vulgar or not, however, Roel Gibbons says Carnival has done to this country what no religion has ever managed to do.
It's like a fertile seed. You drop it somewhere and pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You know what I mean? It's a wonderful thing. So we have to understand it in those terms. Right? And understand that that's what they're trying to do is what religions have not been able to do. Which is to bring people together, to create that kind of harmony. And this is where it is we have in it. So that's where we're starting. And hopefully we'll end.
In a society where the classes are seemingly widening at a fast rate, this director and playwright says this is why Carnival has become ever more important to this country as the generations have gone by.
We constructed a carnival based on inclusivity. The same point about what Shadow was making there. That isn't obtained necessarily in other places. Right? In Brazil, you belong to specific schools. Right? In New Orleans, you have different layers. You have the elite have their thing, you have the second liners have their thing, whatever the case might be. Right? Here is a space where everybody can mix. And we did it that way deliberately because we said, hey, what's the problem with this place? The problem with this place is that there's a minority that is in control of the resources, and we, the majority of us, don't have nothing. So we had to open up that space so that all of us could participate. And in doing that, we released the creativity of the people. That's why it's so important for us.
Now, even in his small yard, Ronald Alfred, the third generation and leader of the original Jab Jab in central Trinidad, is opening up about the practices of the band. He welcomes children and students, teaching them about the indigenous art form.
I have a yard where we used to pitch marble. We call it the yard, right? I still call it the yard. That's how I learn. And I teach that the same way I learn. And we have people from UWI here, we have people from different institutions coming out and spreading the knowledge. But you see, the question is again, everybody keep asking about the connection about spirituality in the Mass. You can't see it, you have to experience it.
No matter what perspectives are shared, no easy bridge can be built to cross between the conservative Christian conscience and Carnival. The long-standing debate that has lasted decades lives on in the 21st century, though even the religious recognize some aspects of Carnival are not only important, but also original to this country.
There are, as I said, some things I appreciate. In fact, I actually felt I wrote a calypso that Chokdas and Rashoti thought was decent. There's a magician in this country, boy, I'm telling you. Yeah, this is true. I won't lie to you. I was talking about how things were disappearing, the rice was disappearing, and a drug man held in Princestown disappeared. I said, there's a magician in this country, boy, up this I'm sure. I'm going to sing some more. That's what Kai so for. Because I felt, I understand and appreciate that genre. I support that. Some of the ministers, traditional thinking ministers, didn't support it, but I worked with the gospelists of people. I brought in a gospelist of tent. So personally, I am strong on my Christian values, Christian viewpoint on it. I have not been one to say, let me go and experience it to see what it's like. I don't need to do that, and I never did.
Apostle Terence Honoré draws a thick line between carnival and Christianity. Where do you stand on this debate?
As far as I'm concerned, there is supposed to be a clear distinction. Things are nebulous, but as far as I'm concerned, I am championing for the cause of the Christian perspective on life, which goes against the wantonness or the extremes of the carnival season. The Christian community is challenged to champion the authenticity and the reality of Christianity in our society.
It is a conflict of the Christian conscience with no easy answer. How people of faith can be people of Fete.
Christians will continue to do what Christians do, and carnival babies will continue to do what carnival people do every year. I am thinking it's like oil and water. We're here, but we are not part of it. And that's what the word says. We're in it, but not of it. And so we're there, we coexisting, but there is a distinction, and that must be maintained for the salvation of the nation as well. Much of we respect the artistry and we respect all that people have contributed historically into social commentary and so on. We also recognize that there is a spirituality, a spiritual dimension to our interpretation of what goes on with carnival and what obtains in the church. And those two, the twain cannot meet.